Hey everybody, it's me, Josh Welgus. You may know me as Ghillie.
I'm Josh Carlson.
And we are here to walk you through some more of the aspects of Burncycle for this Kickstarter that we've got going on right now. So we've got here our Burncycle prototype in front of us. One of the things that is right in front of us here is the actual Burncycle mat. There's a bunch of things that happen here on the Burncycle mat, but the one thing in this video that we're really going to concentrate on is the actual namesake of the game, the Burncycle, which is represented by these 5 slots over here in the Burncycle mat. And Josh, from a thematic standpoint, why don't you tell them a little bit about why the Burncycle is important?
Sure. So thematically, the Burncycle is something that the 404th, which is the sect of bots, the resistance basically, have come up with to manipulate actions that they've been subjected to. So humans have basically imposed and restricted all of the bots to certain actions based on their jobs. And that really limits what a bot can do. So within this game, the bots have come up with this Burncycle to manipulate and gain access to further actions based on their squad makeup. So if you and I have selected bots for this game, each of them is contributing a certain amount and type of actions. And those get pooled up together, thrown in a bag, and then drawn at different times throughout the game to create a Burncycle. And then, the bots have opportunities to access those sets of actions as it deteriorates, which we'll get into.
There's 3 types of actions that are going to show up in the Burncycle. One of them is physical, one of them is tech, and one of them is utility. So as Josh mentioned, what's going to happen is you're going to throw whatever icons are available to you into this bag. Well, not this literal bag, but a bag that comes with the game, and you are going to draw out 5 of them at the beginning or any time that you reboot the Burncycle, basically. So,
and that's if you have your whole Burncycle available to you. We're going to show you as if this entire Burncycle is unlocked to give you the full idea of what it could look like.
So then you're going to slot those. Now, normally these would be drawn in sequence. I'm just kind of putting them out to demonstrate. But then you're going to lock them into these positions, and that is your Burncycle. So now the different types of actions you can take in the game are now dictated by what's available to you here. Now, you're going to be taking actions out here on the physical map, and then you're also sometimes going to be taking actions here on the network, and we're going to cover some of the things that you can do there. But on your turn, you will start at the top of your Burncycle, and every time you take an action, you'll move down 1 like so. You can take any type of action during any portion of your Burncycle. However, if you take a physical action when you are on a physical token, you will get a bonus for doing so. Anytime that the Burncycle is rebooted, what's going to happen is you are going to draw a number of chips equal to the amount of slots you have available in your Burncycle at that time. So for demonstration purposes, we're going to assume that we have all 5 of these slots available to us. And so you would draw one by one. You're randomly drawing and then placing what you draw in there. Like so. All right, so now we have our Burncycle set up. So we've got tech, physical, utility, physical, and tech. That's the order that we have available to us. Now, on my turn, I'm going to take up to 5 of these actions, and I can enter the Burncycle at any point. So I could start here, I could start at the top, I could even start at the bottom, though that's probably rarely advised. And these will dictate how many actions are available to me, as I said. And if I take a tech action while I am on a tech position, I'm going to get a bonus for doing so. The same for physical, the same for utility. Now, I can still take a physical action on a tech spot. However, I'm going to forfeit the bonus I might get for doing things in order.
Yep, so there's a double layer of strategy going on, and things you have to think through is like how many total actions do you want to take? And part of that is going to be determined by how many action dice you have available to you, because once you've decided that you're going to take an action, depending on what you're trying to do with that action, you have a certain amount of action dice that you can appropriate for that specific action. On a physical action, I'm trying to move X amount of spaces. I want to reach that door. I'm going to grab from my action dice pool. I have 6 available to me, but I only want to roll 4 for this one specific action. I get a 2 AP bonus when I pair those up when I'm on a physical action token. So I'm going to roll that. I have 4 that I got total plus my 2, so I can move up to 6 spaces. The misses go back to your pool, then on to my next action type, but I could skip it if I wanted to. If, for instance, I didn't get to the door or didn't get far enough, then I could go ahead and either do it here or go to here and get an extra bonus again. So
right.
You're always gauging the amount of actions that you want to take, but it also requires action dice to do anything with those actions. So you're kind of looking at the two and weighing the difference there. Yeah.
Sure. So all of us at the table, so if we were playing 2-player, I would go, then Josh would go. If we were playing 4-player, all 4 players would go. We would take our turn, and then at the end of that round, what happens is that the bottom token in the burn cycle is removed and it's unavailable, or it's locked out for you.
It's locked out, yeah.
Yeah. Then we can go again, and we would lock out another position and another with each passing round. And as you can see, your actions start to become very, very limited the longer you let that go on.
Correct.
At the end of any round, however, you as a group can make the decision to reboot the burn cycle, take all of these chips out,
yep,
put them back in the bag, and reset your burn cycle and gain any action slots available to you back. However, every time you do that, every time you reboot the burn cycle,
your threat climbs.
Your threat is going to be climbing.
Yep.
And so there's tension there between limiting your actions or opening up more actions to be available to you. However, that's going to raise your threat, which brings you closer to potentially a loss.
Yep.
May activate all sorts of tricky things that you don't want to be activated. So there's a lot of interest there in figuring out when to reboot, when to try to squeak out a couple of actions with a really limited burn cycle, and so on.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's great. I think that the threat level increase from our first iteration, it's gotten quite substantial. Where it used to be not as much up to you when that reset happened, now it's very much up to your group, and you can push it. If you do, you're getting less and less benefit from your burn cycle working for you when you have less actions to take.
We've talked about using all of these tokens in the burn cycle. We haven't talked about what's left over in this bag.
Right, right.
We've got a number of chips here that were left over in the bag, and those are also usable in the game.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
All right. So the usable chips that are left over are going to be broken down into a number of different ways. One of the ways that you can use them is if your bot has ability to swap out certain action tokens in the burn cycle. It comes down to unique bot abilities that can tap into those extra tokens. Another way that's more universal for all bots is when you're accessing a door, or more specifically a keypad, which could be a door or a crate. Either one of those, you'll be drawing a keypad card. This is going to show you a sequence or diagram of different icons, and some of them are action tokens. So if you're able to match those up, or kind of protect those when you're accessing a door or a keypad, you would be able to unlock it just using those extra symbols.
Sure. So we talk a lot about dice as a resource in this game. These extra tokens that come from the bag and the burn cycle draw are also very, very important for a number of different actions within the game. Most of them are going to be tied, again, to your specific bot abilities, but there are a few universal ones as well. You, the bots, the player, are able to manipulate the burn cycle in a number of ways. Most of the time, that's going to be, again, through bot abilities.
Yep.
However, bad things can also happen to your burn cycle, and that is controlled by the corporation that you are trying to infiltrate. As that threat meter ticks up, a lot of these things are going to trigger and that is going to have a negative impact on your burn cycle.
Yep.
We already talked about how at the end of each round, one of these icons is going to get locked out. There may be corporations, however, that can remove a token entirely from your burn cycle, and now you're always dealing with a max of 4 actions. There may be corporations that are going to swap these around on you when you don't expect it. There may be corporations that remove a bonus from certain types of tokens. All sorts of crazy stuff can happen to you as that threat meter ticks up, and you deal with the negative ramifications of whatever corporation you are trying to infiltrate.
Yeah. I mean, need chain specifically is kind of a hodgepodge of that type of negative influence on your burn cycle. At the threat level 8, you're having to remove the slot 1 completely, and as long as you're above level 8, it's always going to be removed. So at that point, you better have unlocked a few, because you're going to be limited pretty quickly. Then there's other potential ones down here where you're locked down on one of the tokens completely. So like that just flips it over. Yep.
That would be locked out regardless of being the end of the round.
Correct.
Or what have you. Now, there are bots also we mentioned that might be able to unlock that using a skill or using additional AP, that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's a little bit about how the burn cycle works. What is the burn cycle exactly? Well, it's complicated, but it's a chain of actions that's going to control the course of your turn in each game, and also serves as a sort of restriction for what you can do within the limitations of your bot and within your party. So I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about what the burn cycle is all about. We've got more videos explaining a lot more of the mechanics of this game coming up.